Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Xiaolin Perspectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 38 of Xiaolin Showdown, Judging Omi. And the episode begins as Master Feng is getting ready to offer the Xiaolin monks a promotion! Sort of. You see, it has been a year since Master Feng has promoted the Xiaolin monks to the rank of Xiaolin Apprentice, and as such, he believes it's time for one of them to elevate to the rank of Wudai Warrior. Of course, like I just said, it's only for one of them, and as such, while the Xiaolin monks are curious as to who's going to be promoted, Master Feng is kind of keeping his lips sealed until the next day when he'll announce it. However, the Xiaolin monks are, of course, naturally curious about who's getting this promotion, to the point where they all, one by one, do end up going to Dojo, wanting to try and see if he knows who's going to be the next Wudai warrior. However, Dojo doesn't really know jack shit, as, well, Master Feng intentionally keeps him out of the loop with this sort of thing since he's a blabbermouth, but each of the Xiaolin monks, intentionally or otherwise, do end up misunderstanding things that Dojo says to think that they're going to be the ones that are promoted, and as a result, they give him gifts, which results in Dojo just kind of raising a few eyebrows, but hey, he takes the gifts anyway. However, all this is sort of put on hold as Dojo reacts when a new Shengongwu reveals itself. In this case, it's a yo-yo called the Ying Yo-Yo, a very mysterious Shengongwu that, on the surface, has the power to open up a gateway to a parallel reality called the Yin-Yang world. This sort of weird, topsy-turvy alternate world that just kind of operates on its own rules and laws of physics. However, any other knowledge about the Ying Yo-Yo is sadly lost because, well, the portion of the scroll of the Shengongwu that had that information is gone. Mostly because at some point in time in the past there was a great potato famine and everyone thought that paper was a good substitute for potatoes, so yeah, they probably ate that part of the scroll. Dojo was not doing a good job guarding it that day. But point is, the effects of the Ying Yo-Yo are a little out there, and as a result, it's kind of advised by Master Feng and Dojo to approach this Shengongwu with caution. But either way, it's still a new Shengongwu. Gotta go get it. And as such, while Dojo kind of does not want to face the music for everyone getting mad at him because he knows they're gonna get mad at him for quote unquote leading them on, he does stay behind, and they end up and Omi and the rest of the group take the Shenguru to where the Ying Yo-Yo is, as apparently it's somewhere in China. However, as they're going off, in the distance, we see that Chase Young and Wu Ye are watching them leave, and Chase pretty much announces to Wu Ye that it's time to finally enact his grand plan to take over the world. And that also means that it's time to bring Omi to his side. And we learn here why Chase has been so adamant to get Omi on his side. It's not just a matter of he respects Omi's abilities and thinks he's a very capable warrior. It's because apparently there is some ancient prophecy or whatever that states that Omi is destined to defeat Chase Young at some point. As such, in a bid to try and nip this prophecy in the butt, Chase has been working to try and Chase has been trying to get Omi on his side. It's why he's been doing all this stuff to try and get Omi on his confidence throughout the season. And now it's time, and basically he thinks it's time for them to finally snap the trap shut, so to speak. And unfortunately that does involve the Ying Yo-Yo. Either way, with the Xiaolin monks managed to find where the Ying Yo-Yo is. It's in the middle of a forest somewhere. However, before they can actually get it, Jack Spicer arrives, and he's not alone, as apparently Jack Spicer went to a bunch of the other B-grade villains of the week, and has now made essentially an evil dream team, so to speak. Not like the evil dream team from several episodes back, but a evil dream team, consisting of the Cyclops, Tubby Mora, Catnape, and Vlad. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second because I'm gonna question this team choice a little. Now, Vlad, I admit, I could see him wanting to work with Jack, as he does seem to be a bit more amicable towards Jack Spicer and his whole thing, as we saw a few episodes back with the Demon Seed. So I can buy he's here, and as the Cyclops, it's a big dumb brood. Jack probably doesn't have to do very little to get that thing on his side. But Tubby Mora, Catnape? I don't know why they're here. Tubby Mora, at least in the case of Tubby Mora, he and Jack Spicer did not really part on good terms the last time they worked together. And again, part of the reason for why they were at each other's throats at that point was because Jack's way of paying Tubby Mora for his services was by stealing a bunch of shit because he was dead broke. So, then again, we do know that Jack has apparently come into some money at some point between episodes because, again, last episode, he built the worm bots, so whatever. Maybe that finally gave him enough money to pay Tubby Mora. Catnape! Yeah, I don't know why she's here. Even if Jack had enough money to pay her, one, she's loaded, and two, she has made it clear on every occasion that she thinks Jack is an idiot. So I don't know why she would put all that aside and say, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna work with you to take over the world. I don't know, it's weird. Either way, though, all that aside, either way, though, the team of villains ends up fighting with the Xiaolin monks. However, in the midst of the fighting, Chase Young makes an appearance. Nobody ends up seeing him, however, as he manages to find where the Ying Yo-Yo was, as during the scuffle it got tossed aside, and he ends up replacing it with a fake yo-yo, one that is very clearly a fake, because I think one side of it says "Made in Mexico." Either way, nobody sees it. In the midst of the battle, Jack Spicer manages to get his hands on the fake Ying Yo-Yo, and he makes a run for it, with his crew of villains following after. As such, the Xiaolin monks end up kind of feeling shitty for the loss. However, during all this, Omi talks about how as the future Wudai warrior, he will be happy to lead their group, which in turn causes everyone to say, no, I'm the future Wudai warrior, and so on and so forth, until they realize that Dojo quote-unquote lied to them. As such, they end up making their way back to the temple, and they end up cornering Dojo, who tells them that he genuinely didn't know, that they all came to their own assumptions, and that if it'll make them feel any better, he'll give back all the gifts that they gave him. However, in the midst of all this, well, something happens. We don't know exactly what, but it involves Chase Young, as shortly before it happens, we see Chase hiding in some corridor in the temple, watching the Xiaolin monks chewing Dojo out, and then after that we see like a flash of light, and apparently apparently a hurricane blew through the temple, as we see the entire place just upended, wrecked, all the Xiaolin monks on the floor in pain, while Dojo's just kind of lying on his side, still in the middle of giving his excuse. As such, the Xiaolin monks begin wondering what the hell is going on, why don't they remember anything happening, when they see all the damage that's been caused, well, they immediately go on high alert. As such, their first priority is to go to the Shengong Wu Vault to see if anything was stolen, but nothing's been stolen. In fact, there is not any Shengong Wu missing at all. However, after they affirm that they at least have all their Shengong Wu, they go to check on Master Feng to see if something happened to him. And unfortunately, they're not as lucky in that department. Where in Master Feng's quarters, they find what looks like a weird blue outline against his wall where he used to be. And as Dojo examines it, he realizes that this is a sign that Master Feng has been sent to the Yin Yang world. Which of course makes the group believe that Jack Spicer is the one that sent him away. As such, Omi believes that they have to try and storm Jack Spicer's base in order to get the Ying Yo-Yo and find him, and find Master Feng. But the other Xiaolin monks begin getting upset, as they begin talking about how they wouldn't be in this mess if Omi had told them the secret to destroying evil, since he learned it in an episode prior. But Omi talks about how he swore not to look for that knowledge, so that means he's duty bound not to give it. Of course, the good guys are saying, well, why would you do that you made an oath with a bad guy? That shouldn't count. But Omi actually gets upset and argues that because he's a Xiaolin monk, he's honor bound to keep his word. That's that whole thing of honor that separates them from the bad guys. So he's not gonna just break that rule just because it's convenient for everybody. However, this results in the Xiaolin monks stating that from now on maybe they need to institute a voting system. However, Omi says that they don't have to do that this isn't a democracy, although he doesn't say that word specifically. But regardless, he ends up running off as he decides he needs to get the Ying Yo-Yo. As such, he manages to make his way to Jack Spicer's base, and he manages to sneak inside via the changing chopsticks. However, upon getting inside, he sees Jack and his team of villains as they're getting ready to plan an assault on the Xiaolin temple. As such, while Omi does end up getting flushed away as he was hiding in a toilet, and it wound up getting flushed because apparently the Cyclops likes to drink out of the toilet. Gross. Omi manages to escape from Jack's base, and he realizes he has to get back to the temple and warn everybody about Jack's assault. Unfortunately, by the time he arrives, he's too little too late, as Jack Spicer and co have managed to have already attacked the place, with the only member of the group that's managed to get out okay being Dojo, who somehow managed to escape from the temple. And in the meantime, the other Xiaolin monks, they're in the temple, but they're all basically strapped to a giant slab, as Jack wants to interrogate them on how to get into the vault. Hey, that extra security actually paid off for once. However, how he plans to get that information is via interrogation. A tickling interrogation. Yeah. Anyway, JoJo thinks that they have to act fast because if Jack Spicer can find Clay's worst spot, he's probably gonna sing like a canary and tell him everything he wants to know, which means that Jack Spicer will get all the Shengon Wu and probably be on his way to taking over the world. As such, options dwindling, Omi realizes there's only one person he can turn to for help. Chase Young. As he and Dojo make their way to Chase's base, and after they're escorted in by Chase's cats, they do find Chase's in the middle of eating dinner, which of course includes a bowl of Lao Ming Lo soup, which clearly does have a bit of dragon in there, so he found someone else to be in his dinner. But either way, Chase says that he is more than happy to help out Omi. After all, Jack Spicer's an insect. He'd be more than happy to crush him. And besides, the world's a pretty dark place, so maybe helping Omi out here will make him begin to see more of the upsides to being on the side of evil. You know, it's a big thing. Either way, this makes Omi nervous, but he kind of goes along with it, as he and Chase do end up storming the Xiaolin temple. Of course, once they make themselves known, Jack thinks that he can easily outnumber them because he's got his team of evil and he's got more Jack, and he's rebuilt all his Jackbots, so he clearly thinks he's got numbers on his side. Until Chase snaps his fingers and shows off his army of cats. And to try and further prove that Jack Spicer is fully screwed, Chase snaps his fingers again, and we see a group of these cats actually metamorphose into their human forms. Yeah, remember back in Chase's debut episode where he mentioned that all the cats are the warriors that had fallen to him at some point? Yeah, we actually get to see them acting as warriors. Mind you, they're still working for Chase. They have to do what he says, but that's pretty cool to see all these different warriors, as all of them are from different cultures, different time periods, different continents. It's actually pretty cool. I like seeing that. But either way, the combination of all these warriors plus Chase and Omi's teamwork, they managed to overpower Jack's forces and pretty much just whoop their collective asses. However, in the midst of all this, Chase Young manages to find Jack, and he pretty much just shakes him down until the fake yin yo-yo falls out. As such, once he gets it, Chase immediately swaps it out for the real thing, and gives it to Omi, claiming that this will be his ticket to saving Master Fong. And as such, after Omi saves his friends from the Ticklebot, again, I don't know why, I'm sorry. Basically, they see that Omi got the help of Chase, and when he offers Omi the yin yo-yo, immediately they're kind of cautious, because why is the master of all evil offering to help them find their master? As such, they kind of want to put it to a vote that they should probably put using the yin yo-yo on hold until they can at least ask Dojo for more details. However, at this point, Omi is getting fed up with them just immediately not doing anything, as he says a leader has to just jump in when they needs to, as he just snatches the yin yo-yo from Chase and immediately opens a portal to the yin-yang world, which he immediately jumps through. And again, I'll give credit, when we actually see the yin-yang world, it's a very trippy place. It's completely, when Omi first enters it, his colors are completely gone, and the thing is, the entire world is just covered in blackness and what looks like Chinese characters floating around, while Omi's outline is completely white, and all Omi has to do is just like pass through a fog and he gets his form back, but he's completely covered in a strange red light that's coming from nowhere. And as Omi goes along, he ends up falling down this weird corridor that seems to just warp reality, where he ends up falling out of what looks like I don't know what it is, a vent into a big open room that's immediately filled up with shelves upon shelves of bottles that all say chi on them. It's very trippy and weird, and definitely makes you feel uncomfortable. But it's here where Omi finally manages to find Master Fong, as he's apparently frozen in a meditative state. As such, while Omi can't awaken him from the state, he at least has found Master Fong, and as such, he grabs him and uses the yin yo-yo to once again open a portal to escape from the yin-yang world. However, as he does, one of the bottles from the shelves ends up getting jostled and falls off, and when we see the bottle roll around, we see an image of Omi on the bottle. And as Omi leaves the yin-yang world, something happens to him. Now, something I've neglected to talk about regarding Omi is that whenever he usually gets into battle mode, there are these sets of 9 lights on his forehead that light up. I'm guessing the idea behind these things is that they're supposed to indicate him getting his chi ready, and so that he can get ready getting ready to fight and so forth. And again, I've never really mentioned it because it's never really been important to a plot or story beyond maybe a few things. I think the most it's done is that it's usually been a light in some dark whenever they needed it for in dark areas. But otherwise, it's just kind of been irrelevant. And again, to kind of add to that, I think it's probably his chi. It's kind of related to his chi. We saw a similar thing with Master Monk 1 in his debut episode, so whatever. But the thing is, those lights on his forehead are usually arranged in a way that they look like a square. Well, as Omi is leaving the yin yang world, that square on his forehead suddenly twists until it's kind of a diamond. Okay, not really a diamond, so to speak. It's not a diamond shape, but the square is no longer on the flat end. It's now on its angle, and the lights go from white to red. And when they do, Omi's expression immediately turns sour, vile. And, well, when he arrives back in the real world, Master Feng, the other Xiaolin monks are, of course, happy he's okay, happy he got Master Feng, but Omi seems a bit more cold to the group. To the point where he tells them when they tell him that they're happy he's back, he says he's not back. That when he tried to make an executive decision, nobody would listen. When he tried to explain himself, everyone talked over him. That he realizes that nobody cares for him here, that nobody trusts him, nobody listens to him. And yet through all this, one person had his back, one person was on his side. Chase Young. And so, Omi walks away from the Xiaolin monks and goes to him, claiming that from now on, he wants to throw his lot in with Chase. And when Chase hears this, we see the most twisted smile appear on his face as he just says that the prophecy has now been fulfilled and that the world is his, I guess. As suddenly a big maelstrom of a storm arrives overhead and immediately blasts both Chase and Omi, and as a result, Omi's robes end up changing color. As his red robe now turns black, his sash, which was once blue, is now red, and Omi's eyes Omi's eyes, let me just put it this way, they're evil now. They're basically glowing now with red outlines. He has this big twisted slasher smile on his face, and as we see their power emanating, we see a massive explosion of energy that flies literally across the cosmos to the point where the Earth is split in half. Yeah. Apparently, Omi joining Chase was just that big a deal. As after all this happens, as all this has happening, I guess Dojo says that it's begun 1,000 years of darkness, and as a result, and after this, we actually do cut to around the world as we see that the large cities and so forth are now seemingly bereft of people, as while all the places are still outstanding, they look like they've been shaken up a bit. And when we cut back to the temple, we see the Xiaolin monks looking on in horror as they realize Omi is threw his lot in with Chase, and to kind of add more fuel to the "we're fucked" fire, they accidentally drop Master Feng down a flight of stairs. Kind of detracts from the seriousness of the situation, but whatever, there you go. That's how the episode ends, and my thoughts on it. What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna say right now, I do have some questions. I'm gonna say this immediately right now. My biggest question is, admittedly, the stuff with the prophecy. I'm gonna say right now, the prophecy, I feel like, should have been explained more than how it was. Again, like I said, throughout the season, we've been able to see that Chase Young has taken a special interest in Omi. And I like that this is the episode that finally fully explains it. As the most that we've had of why Chase is interested in getting Omi on his side is because Omi is a very talented warrior, and he thinks that Omi's skills would be better utilized working for evil instead of against it. And so I kind of like that this is the episode that further clarifies that part of the reason why he's zeroing in on Omi is because that Omi really is the chosen one. He's the one that's destined to defeat Chase Young in battle, and I kind of like that and as a result, I kind of like that everything that Chase has been doing throughout the season has been in some way to try and subvert that prophecy. Problem is, I feel like that we should know more about this prophecy. I mean, honestly, I feel like it would have been better if we had actually further explored what this prophecy was, where it came from, why is it tied to Omi, and so forth. And on top of that, why is it that Omi joining Chase is the thing that allows him to take over the world? It's maybe explained in another episode, as I do remember watching the next two parts of this three-parter when I was a kid, because, yeah, this is the first part of a three-part episode, and I do remember I do remember that while Omi is working with Chase, Chase basically has access to Omi's powers. But how is Omi's power plus his own enough for him to take over the world? Is it just kind of an accumulative thing? Did he gain all the powers of all the other warriors, and Omi is just that final clincher that finally gives him ultimate power and so forth? If so, why didn't he need Omi? Okay, actually, you know what? Forget that criticism. After all, as Chase said, apparently it's all part of a prophecy that Omi will defeat him, so maybe Omi's power is just that great. But still, I feel like that we should have at least further explained this methodology. Further explored what this whole prophecy is, what Omi's supposed to do, or why Omi joining up with Chase is the thing that finally gave him the chance to have ultimate power. It's just, I don't know. It just kind of feels strange is all. Here's the thing too. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I had a point there, lost it. But my main thing is, it just kind of feels strange. This prophecy is kind of the linchpin of everything, but it feels like it should have been better explained. With that said, the rest of the episode I think more than makes up for it. Oh, well, okay, for the most part. The stuff with Jack Spicer and his group of villains, I don't know, feels unnecessary, and again, I kind of question the villain choice or at least half of the villains that are working for him. Again, Tubby Mora, I can kind of buy if Jack managed to finally come into some more money and could afford to pay him, but Catnap is definitely a hard sell for me. But otherwise, again, the rest of the episode more than makes up for that and allows me to forget these things. Actually, you know what, forget that. One more criticism. Sorry, I keep bringing this up. I keep getting ready to talk about the positives, and then I say, oh wait, no, what about this? I'm kind of wondering, how did they lead an assault on the temple? I mean, before, when Jack and Co. managed to attack the Xiaolin warriors, they whooped their asses something fierce, and it was only because Jack technically won when he grabbed the fake Ying Yo-Yo that they considered it a victory. Either way, but regardless, they all got their asses whooped. Is the fact that Omi and Master Feng aren't there really enough to get them out of it? To not count it? I don't know. I don't know. That just kind of feels weird. Again, I think, barring me remembering anything else about the episode that made me scratch my head, I do think this is a really good first part. Like I said, this is a 3-part episode. And what I love for once is that, and like I said, I like that this is the episode where we're finally getting some closure on Chase Young's ultimate grand plan. I like that we do get an explanation for why he's been trying so hard to get Omi on his side beyond, oh, he's a great warrior, he could benefit from being on evil's side. What I like about the episode, though, are the steps that are taken to get Omi onto Chase's side. The thing is, as we've showed throughout the season, Chase Young has been working a little by little to warm Omi up to him. We've seen it in previous episodes. We saw it in the Sabini episode where he offered Omi advice on how to defeat Sabini and even taught him a new move in order to better take Sabini down. Then after that, we saw that there was the episode where Chase got trapped in the Sphere of Yun and his abilities are being used by Jack Spicer. In that episode, he tried covering for Omi when Omi went to save him, and even helped him out and win the fighting against Jack. And then hold on one second. Sorry, I had to remember stuff. Then we had the episode where he set events in motion to try and, warm Omi up to potentially thinking himself better or thinking a little snidely by having Omi be more cautious of people. And then likewise, there was the episode where he intentionally tried to gauge Omi's reaction by taking his friend Jermaine under his wing. Like I said, Chase Young has been little by little gouging or basically gauging Omi, trying to figure out what he can and can't do, and trying to worm his way into Omi's, subconscious, trying to get in his head, change how Omi sees things and so forth, while also basically trying to make himself look like an invaluable ally. Yes, he will always state that he and Omi are on opposite sides, since Omi fights for good and he fights for evil. But the thing is, like I said, Chase Young always likes to keep a code of honor to him. And the thing with Omi, he's all about honor. As he says in this episode, the code of honor is the one thing that separates the Xiaolin monks from the people they fight. And as a result, you could argue that that when Omi sees that code of honor from Chase, he probably does feel a kinship to him. That he looks at Chase and sees someone that, regardless of being on the opposite side, he is someone that he can trust. And as a result, it makes sense why Omi would go to Chase when he believes that he has no other options. As while Chase may be, as Dojo put it, the Prince of Darkness, at the same time, Omi genuinely believes that he has no better ally than Chase, unaware of the fact that Chase is the one that kind of set this all up. Now, the thing is, it's clear. I think it's pretty clear that Chase Young didn't plan for Jack Spicer to lead an assault on the Xiaolin Temple. I think what he wanted to happen was, I think what his original plan was for that he wanted the Xiaolin monks to think that Jack had stolen the Ying Yo-Yo, and then as it went down, as the Xiaolin monks were doing their own thing, he'd come in, do whatever he did, and send Master Feng to the yin-yang world. And as a result, since the Xiaolin monks, of course, think that Jack has the yin yo-yo, they'll most likely attack his base. Chase could probably come in and offer a helping hand, and then quote-unquote get the yin-yang yo-yo, get the yin yo-yo from Jack Spicer. And as a result, I'm guessing that was pretty much just his whole plan. It's just that Jack Spicer kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything by invading the temple. But ultimately, Chase was able to turn it to his advantage because, hey, that means Omi had to come to him for help, which means he's obviously been able to find a way to ingratiate himself more to the young warrior. So at the very least, I like how he spins it. But when it comes down to it, I like how essentially, even despite the little hiccup with Jack Spicer and his evil doings kind of getting in the way of things, Chase pretty much planned this entire episode out from the beginning. I'm guessing that part of the reason why Chase acted when he did and how he did was because he was waiting for the Yin Yo-Yo to reveal itself. Because, well, without really getting into spoiler territory, this thing is kind of an essential component for getting Omi into his new mindset. And as a result, I like how he basically for one sets up events so that he can fully ingratiate himself to Omi by pretending to be his ally. Because after all, it's clear that Chase was the one that sent him there. After all, he was the one that had the real Yin Yo-Yo, and he clearly did something to make everyone forget. I suspect I know what it is, but I'll wait till later episodes could potentially confirm it. Either way, it's clear that he set this all. It's clear that he was able to set it all up. Again, hold on one second. Sorry, collecting myself. But like I said, it was clear that he was able to set all this up in order to try and, point the Xiaolin monks in the direction he wanted them to go towards. And as a result, it's through this that he was able to, again, further ingratiate himself to Omi by trying to solve a problem that he himself caused. And I like that. It's a great way of not only tricking Omi into getting in the position he wants, but once he gets exactly what he wants, well, Omi already has a positive opinion of him because, well, he just helped him defeat Jack Spicer. That alone is probably enough. And again, give credit where it's due. When Chase and Omi were working side by side, they kicked ass again. So cool stuff all around. I guess for me, but again, I like how we showcase this in the episode. Seeing Chase just playing puppet master, letting everyone fall into his own trap, while he just sits on the sidelines acting all coy and innocent, even though everyone's doing exactly what he needs them to do. And by the end, when his efforts do bear fruit, as Omi leaves the Yin Yang world with Master Feng, only for him to tell the Xiaolin monks, "Fuck you guys, I'm going with the evil bastard," it definitely gives a sense of what the fuck, especially as we see Omi leaving the Yin Yang world and we see him change. So clearly there is something up with the Yin Yang world, something that everyone could have learned if they had all that extra scroll, if they had more of that scroll, or were able to talk to Dojo. But again, because they didn't know that knowledge, and because Omi jumped in without thinking, yeah, it came back to bite them in the ass, and now Omi's one of the bad guys, and apparently him joining up with Chase is enough for him to rule the world. I guess. I don't know. Point is, it's definitely a great what the hell factor to end the episode on, as we see Omi abandoning his friends and throwing his lot in with Chase Young, and then by the end, and then likewise, because of all the mysteries surrounding the titular point, the major factors of the episode, i.e., the yin yang world, and what happened when Omi joining up with Chase, it definitely makes you wonder what's going on. Even the stuff with the temple and the blanket memory that the Xiaolin monks have, which, saying that, you probably can guess what happened if you watched previous episodes, but again, wait till later episodes to say it. But I think it makes sense. I think it can kind of make sense and explains things. But overall, the mystery surrounding everything behind the major factors in this episode definitely keep you invested and want to make you learn more. What did happen to Omi when he went to the yin yang world? Why is he evil? Why is he working? Why is he suddenly okay with working with Chase, even though before he was usually a hesitant ally? What happened in that missing time gap? The time gap when Chase attacked the Xiaolin Temple? We don't know, but we're dying to find out. And the fact that the episode ends with Chase pretty much unleashing a cavalcade of darkness onto the world to the point where the fucking planet splits in half, yeah, you kind of want answers. So on the whole, as the first part of this three-parter goes, it does a great job at grabbing your attention and holding on tight. So overall, I think this is a really good beginning, and definitely makes me invested to see where things go. Does it have its problems that make me scratch my head? Yes, the Chase Young one, I admit, like, if you really think it over, you probably could come to your own conclusions there. But again, other parts of the episode do make me kind of scratch my head a little. It feels like it's more convenience than anything. Either way, really damn good episode. Cannot wait for the next one. So till then, I hope you have a good Friday, and take care.